Part 1. The mystery begins. Imagine looking up at the night sky and realizing something is already looking back at you. For centuries, humanity has gazed at the stars, wondering if we are alone. But what if the answer has been orbiting above our heads all along? A dark, silent object circling Earth, hidden in plain sight. Some call it the Black Knight satellite. This is no ordinary satellite. It is not something we launched. In fact, stories of the Black Knight go back long before the first human-made satellite ever left the ground. The legend begins in the late 1800s, with one of the greatest inventors of all time, Nikola Tesla. In 1899, Tesla was conducting experiments in Colorado Springs. He was testing his high-voltage transmitters, listening for signals from beyond Earth. And then, he heard something. A repeating signal, rhythmic, almost intelligent. Tesla was convinced it wasn't natural. He believed it was a message from somewhere out in space. At the time, the idea of radio signals from another world seemed impossible. Critics dismissed Tesla. They said it was just background noise. But decades later, scientists would admit that Tesla may have detected something very real, something orbiting Earth. Fast forward to the 1920s. A Norwegian engineer named Jørgen Hals picked up strange signals on his shortwave radio. He called them long-delayed echoes. A transmission would leave his radio, and then come back several seconds later, like an echo in space. But where was it bouncing from? There was no known object in orbit. The phenomenon was so baffling that scientists still cannot fully explain it today. Some believe these echoes were signs of the same thing Tesla had heard years earlier. Evidence that a mysterious object was circling Earth, intercepting signals, and sending them back. And then came the 1950s. This was the dawn of the space race. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the world's first official satellite, in 1957. The United States quickly followed with their own. But before these launches, astronomers had already noticed something strange. In 1954, reports emerged of two large objects orbiting Earth. American newspapers ran stories claiming the U.S. Air Force had detected mysterious satellites. But the problem was simple: no country on Earth had launched anything yet. These objects should not have existed. The media went wild. Headlines claimed we were being watched by unfriendly space spies. The U.S. government denied it all. But the sightings kept coming. By the 1960s, the object had a name: the Black Knight satellite. Dark, heavy, and seemingly ancient. Unlike our satellites, which usually orbit west to east, the Black Knight was said to orbit in a polar path, from north to south. At the time, no human technology could achieve such an orbit. Polar orbits were far more advanced than what we had in the 1960s. So how was it possible? Scientists tried to explain it away. Some said it was just space debris, a lost part of a rocket, or even a misidentified natural object. But not everyone was convinced. The mystery was growing. Even official space agencies could not fully ignore it. In 1960, the U.S. Navy's tracking radar picked up an unknown object. It was massive, far larger than any satellite of the time. They had no record of it, no launch data, no explanation. To many, this was the Black Knight. Some began to speculate: could it be alien? A probe left to watch Earth? An ancient relic from a forgotten civilization? Or something even stranger, technology that predates human history itself? The legend deepened when people linked the Black Knight to ancient myths. Stories of sky gods watching humanity. Tales of beings who came from the heavens, leaving behind knowledge and artifacts. Could this satellite be proof that those myths were real? By the 1970s and 80s, UFO researchers had fully embraced the Black Knight. They claimed it was over 13,000 years old. A watcher from the stars, silently orbiting Earth, observing humanity's every move. But all of this was just whispers, rumors, fragments of reports. No clear photographs existed. That would change in the 1990s, when astronauts in orbit would capture the first images of the mysterious object. But that is where our story will continue. Because the question remains, if this object was circling Earth long before we had the technology to launch satellites, then who put it there? And why? The Black Knight satellite is no ordinary mystery. It is not just a story of space debris. It is a story that stretches across time, linking Tesla, strange radio signals, ancient legends, and modern space missions.